Hello book people! Today I am doing my first ever reading vlog. I'm really excited and I am actually refilming this intro because the one that I filmed last night when I started was kind of really terrible. It was super shaky and I was way too close to the camera and I just didn't think that that was the appropriate way to start a video. But my first reading vlog is going to be about me reading Wild Love by Elsie. Like I said, I already started filming the reading vlog and I already have started reading the book. I am going to be reading this and giving my thoughts and opinions and sort of recapping what's going on. So this will not be spoiler free. I will be talking about the book. I will be talking about what happens, hopefully in detail. And yeah, I really wanted to do a reading vlog for a while. I wasn't really sure what the subject of the reading vlog should be. And then one of the book clubs that I'm a part of was like, we're reading Wild Love by Elsie. And I thought, you know what would be a good idea? If I did a reading vlog on reading a romance novel, because I'm not really a huge romance girly. That's not to say that I haven't read any romance, but it is not my favorite genre. So I thought it would be kind of fun to record my reactions and just sort of allow you guys to follow along with my reading journey of this book. So if I'm going by the intro that I already filmed, I gave a recap of the first chapter. You essentially just meet the main character, Ford, well, one of the main characters, and he is with his best friend, West, and Ford owns a production company, and he's sort of like starting to build it up, like he's trying to renovate, I think it's like a barn or like a farm area to move the production company into there, and him and West are just like talking about that and sort of setting the scene, and then this young girl shows up at his door and says, "Hey, you're my dad," and Ford is like, "What?" And then you find out that Ford donated to a sperm bank, and that is how this character, Cora, is here and why he is her father. So that is as far as I got when I filmed the first intro. And then I've read more and filmed more, and that will be up next. But yeah, I am reading Wild Love by Elsie, and I think this is going to be a good time. I'm hoping that I stick with this like consistently and I film after I have read each time that I have like a good reading sprint. I want to like film a little bit of footage of me like kind of explaining what's going on, but I've never filmed one of these before and I'm kind of nervous that because it's probably going to be over the span of a few days that I might forget or like, I don't know, not film enough. But I don't know. If this is a little bit choppy and if it's not my best, that's okay because this is my first time doing it. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited to read this. So far, I'm on chapter 9, which I will talk about very soon. And I really like it. I think it's fun. So I'm honestly really looking forward to getting into this even more. So without further ado, I'm going to cut to the footage of me reading last night and enjoy the video. So, update, it is currently 9:24. I just woke up a little while ago. I was doing some reading when I woke up. I did not get very far last night. I think I ended up reading like maybe 5 chapters and then I went to sleep and I woke up. So I'm currently on page 78, which is chapter 9. And I just want to say one more time that this will not be a spoiler-free video. I'm not gonna go like super in depth, but I am gonna like talk about what's happening in the book when I give updates, just because I think that that'll be fun to sort of talk about where I'm at and my opinions. But I surprisingly do not mind the writing at all. I was expecting to find it cheesy and sort of, you know, like any other sort of generic romance, just kind of not super well written, sort of like basic formula. I mean, I can't speak for the formula because I haven't gotten anywhere close to making a dent in the book yet. So we'll see if it's got the like the moment where they do something and then they deny that there was any spark behind it, and then eventually they get together and they're together and it's good, and then something bad happens and it's like a miscommunication, and then after that they figure it out and then they're together, you know, happily ever after, whatever. That's usually what I find the romance formula is. But so far, we've now been introduced to Rosie and Tabitha, who runs the cafe slash restaurant. And so Rosie to me just seems very like in her life in like the city with her boyfriend, like, you know, just trying to do what she can, you know, for her job, because she had like that big presentation, and then the whole guy grabbing her butt, and then her boyfriend Ryan just like not giving a shit, which I feel like the way that Rosie was describing Ryan in the first place, I was just kind of like, that doesn't sound great. Like, yeah, we were friends and then we like got together and now we live together and it just kind of feels like we're roommates again. So I feel like she should be breaking that off as soon as she possibly can. But yeah, and then, you know, Rosie and Ford sort of like seeing each other again. Clearly they have had that sort of like childhood connection, and they've always had a very like banter filled relationship. Like, I think, you know, they're both sort of comparing the way that they are now to the way that they used to be. I think Rosie says something along the lines of it feeling very similar to the way it used to be, except they're adults now. So, I don't know, it's already setting the tone for what their relationship is going to look like, because, you know, they're saying that they're, like, being mean to each other, but honestly, what they're saying isn't even that mean. Like, they're clearly just poking fun. No one's getting upset. And then you have Cora, who now Rosie, out of a job, obviously, coming back home to, like, see people, and she basically admits to Tabitha, the cafe owner, I think she's an owner or just works there, like, oh, I'm staying indefinitely, and then she gets a job working for Ford, and I guess her job entails, like, taking care of Cora a little bit, because she said, like, I could help you with, you know, like, your production business, or I could go pick up Cora, and then she ends up picking up Cora, so it seems like her duties have to do with, like, taking care of her. But already, you know, Cora is very snippy, just like Ford is, and honestly, just like Rosie. So I imagine that they're probably going to get along really well. This seems like it's probably going to be a bit of like a found family for Cora. Actually, I don't know if that's considered found family, but it's going to be something like that. I have a feeling, because I know that Rosie and Ford are like the main love interest, right? So when they get together, it's probably going to be like a family dynamic with them and Cora. But yeah, I like what this is shaping up to be. I think this is really fun, and I'm really not that far, but I am really enjoying it. I think that the dual POV, usually it's not my favorite, because I find that if a writer can't differentiate very well between the voices of the two characters, it just ends up seeming a little pointless to me. I'm not super having that issue with this. I do like the difference, and I think I also just like enjoy the shift in like the storyline, because you've got what's going on with Rosie and Ford, and I like actually am invested in what's going on with both of them. But yeah, I am gonna go and shower and like eat some breakfast, and then I think I'm gonna read some more. But if I update later, I might be in a separate location, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm hoping to get to at least 150 pages today, if not 200. I'm gonna have a lot of time to read. I don't really want to like breeze through this. I mean, it is kind of long, but I do want to make sure that I am keeping a good pace with my books, because I do have so many book club books to read this month. But yeah, I will update you guys later on Wild Left. I basically just picked up the book, just started reading chapter 9, and I already found something that kind of made me giggle. This is from Ford's POV. Rosie takes a deep breath before raising her hand to knock on the door to her parents' house. I'm not sure why she's knocking. Seems more like her to just barge in and announce herself. I reach out to squeeze her shoulder as reassurance, but years of practice kick in and I force my hand back down while internally reminding myself that I'm her boss, not her boyfriend. This might be a struggle for me, because I really hate that, like, that mindset that some romance characters have, where it's like, well, I am like her boss, but I also like her, but being her boss comes first, so I can't like her. Like, I don't know if that's the direction that this is gonna end up going in, because like they also have the childhood best friend stuff, or maybe not childhood best friend, they've got the childhood friends thing going on. So, but I just hate that. Like, it feels very, it almost feels like it's trying to be like, it's got the vibes of like enemies to lovers, except they're not enemies to lovers, you know? Like, I can't like her because I hate her, you know? I think I'm kind of being a little over dramatic about that, but I don't know, that's just kind of what it reminded me of. Anyway, back to reading. and Ford is already like thinking things that he can't say and saying that there's nothing platonic about the way I feel when it comes to Rosie. How much of this book do we have left? I hope these guys don't get together really fast. I feel like it looks like it's shaping up to be more quickly romantic. Like, Ford is basically already super into her. So I'm a little nervous about that. That seems a little quick. And also, Rosie's parents are already like, you showed up here at our house with Ford, so does that mean you guys are a thing? I mean, if her parents are thinking it, oh my gosh. The fact that it's already being voiced that people assume that they would end up together, that feels a little quick. I don't know, this seems a little fast moving. All right, so I've hit the 100-page mark, and I am a little bit lost because this feels like it's trying to be an enemies, but also like, well, Rosie uses the word frenemies to describe them, but it feels like it's trying to be like a really, really light enemies to lovers. But I'm not getting the like actual dislike between the two of them, because I don't think there really is any dislike. But I don't know, it just feels weird. Like, they don't really have a reason not to like each other. They're just both kind of snarky. So I feel like it has to go one way or the other, where you're like childhood friends and you actually like both really like each other, and yeah, you poke fun, but you're like nice to each other, or you're like enemies and you don't like each other because of some childhood feud. But this feels like it's sort of on some like middle line where, I don't know, they're like friends, but they're just sort of like mean to each other. And like, Ford obviously has a crush on her. I think, well, they probably both have crushes on each other, but like Ford is a lot more open about that in his chapters. But Rosie just kind of seems like she's just going through life. She's not necessarily oblivious, but she's not really like, I don't know, she notices Ford, like in what I would consider a more romantic way. But it just feels like it's bordering on trying to be enemies to lovers, which is sort of bothering me, because I'm like, we don't need that. You know, you guys can just like each other. I think that the one thing that's like actually keeping them from being together is the fact that Rosie's West's sister. But still, that's like, that there has been no like, she's my sister so you can't date her. There's barely been that. Like, I think maybe that like idea has come up like once. So I can't really tell what this is trying to be. I mean, I guess it's good if I'm not really feeling like it's super tropey, but it feels like it's trying to be tropey and just not doing a very good job of it. But aside from all of that, I really like the characters, and I do really like it so far. I'm just kind of confused as to what it's trying to do. So, I don't know. It's fun. I think that's all the reading I'm gonna do right now, so I will check back in a little later, maybe when I've read some more, and see where I'm at. But yeah, for now, I think 100 pages, I'm gonna just go make some lunch and chill out for a little bit. Okay, time for an update. It is a lot later than I was expecting it to be. It is the next day, and I think it's 7:30-ish in the evening, but I am 200 pages through Wild Love. I am like blowing through this so much faster than I thought I would. It's not even because it's like some amazing book that I just cannot put down. It's just a matter of it being so easy. But okay, I'm enjoying it. I am very much enjoying it. But there's something about how, actually, before I even say this, I looked up the tropes for this book, and enemies to lovers was listed beside friends to lovers. Tell me how that makes sense. There have been so many moments in this book where both Ford and Rosie have gone, but like, we're like enemies, but we're not enemies, but we should be enemies. Like, I think Rosie literally says we'd be better off as enemies, and Ford agrees with her. It feels like it's reaching to be something that it's not, and if it wasn't trying to be enemies to lovers, this could be so much more solid. If it just was like, you know, friends to lovers, small town romance, like growing up together and, you know, being separated for however long they were because Rosie got a job in the city and, you know, Ford was really doing well with his production company. And then they both ended up going back to Rose Hill, and instead of it being like, oh, well, we used to, you know, like have some slightly mean but pretty much just snarky banter between the two of us when we were kids, while clearly we hate each other now. Not even hate each other, but like clearly we're enemies now. I feel like it could have just made a lot more sense that, you know, there are reasons that they can't, like, that they could use as the reason that they are not able to be together, like Rosie being West's sister, or the fact that Ford just basically adopted a new daughter and that's too much pressure on him, or, you know, Rosie is trying to figure things out with Ryan and maybe it's too soon, or the fact that Ford is Rosie's boss. I feel like there's so many other things that could be used for why they shouldn't be together than just the like sprinkling in of, ooh, enemies to lovers, because the tension is so good. Also, I feel like it is my duty to share with you some of the absolute crazy shit that Ford decides to spew. I have been tabbing very little because this is not the kind of book that I would tab, but I'm pretty sure unintentionally everything I have tabbed has been something Ford has said, and it's always been really, really weird. I'm just gonna flip through and read them to you. Okay, the first one is a little long, but this is Ford's perspective. I never expected every teenage feeling to come barreling back again in full force the minute I laid eyes on her again, but God, she's grown up. Her eyes are still the brightest, most impossible shade of blue, almost crystalline against the golden hue of her skin, and just as expressive as they used to be. They darken with anger, they twinkle with mirth, and today they swam with emotion. Her hair was always long, but now it's longer, layered and wavy, framing her heart-shaped face in a wild tumble. The same dark blonde I remember now artfully painted through with strokes of bright gold and the odd pearlescent streak. It's messy, yet intentional. It suits her. This is chapter 5. Ford describes Rosie like this on page 41. And you're trying to tell me that they want to, not that they want to, but that they think they're better off as enemies? The way that this man describes her, not even 100 pages into the book, I don't buy it. I don't buy the enemies to lovers bullshit. I could buy them liking each other. I can buy this separately, but I can't wrap my head around the decision to try and make it enemies to lovers. Anyway, what I thought was funny about this though was just like, it feels like it's trying to be sort of really intensely descriptive, and I feel like the writing doesn't really work well with sections of description like this because it just comes across almost a little juvenile. I don't want to be mean, but I don't know. They darken with anger, they twinkle with mirth, and today they swam with emotion. That particular line bothers me. I can't really explain why, but I just thought I would share that. On page 109, this is Ford again. I know they mean the nickname, but I'm still caught up in the feel of Rosie's fingers on my skin. I didn't hate that part at all. This is essentially me just showing you every single time that Ford has said something that just makes me go, okay, so why don't you just get together then? This is crazy. This is on page 117. Slowly, his hand comes up to grip my ponytail, just like he did the other night. But tonight, with one slow tug, he guides my head back so I'm forced to look at him. Next time you ask me that, make sure you are. Are you kidding me? So he basically was just saying that be single so we can be together. It's just getting me so worked up because I'm like, okay, so why aren't they together yet? Also, there's so much book left. Like, if this is all happening before the 200-page mark, what could possibly happen here? I mean, they haven't kissed yet. They haven't really done anything. Cora did lock them in a closet to play 7 Minutes in Heaven, which I thought was really funny. Cora is the world's most fun shit disturber, and she's 12, which for a 12-year-old, she is written to be a lot more intelligent than I think the average 12-year-old is. No shade to the 12-year-olds out there. I'm sure you are all very smart. And then here is another thing that Ford says is just a little bit questionable. So I focus on the journal page while the words tumble out almost unbidden. We're at work and I'm technically your boss. We should keep things professional. If we were going to I'd call you Rosie, but we're not. So let's stick to Rosely around the office and at any future business functions. Who says shit like that? Like, really, Ford? Who speaks like that? Even bringing up the possibility of them fucking is like insane to me. Like, what is the point here? What is he trying to achieve? They're not even unclear about how they feel about each other. It's like they're unclear about how they want to go about it with one another, because they could both, like, full on cards on the table, I want to be with you, and I know that the other would 100% go, yes, of course. And I've gotten to the part in the book where Ryan comes to Rose Hill And he shows up and he already knows that Rosie's gonna break up with him. So she has no reason not to be with Ford, and I feel like that is going to become apparent very soon. But yeah, that was me ranting about all of the wild ass shit that Ford says. I think this is called wild love because of how fucking wild Ford is, saying crazy shit. He is so entertaining. As much as I am looking at that and I'm going like, what the fuck are you saying? What the fuck are you doing? I am also extremely entertained, and I think that he's really fun. But yeah, I am 200 pages in. I'm on chapter 21, and I don't know if the next time I update I will be finished. I'm kind of hoping that's the case because I knocked out like 100 pages in one sitting yesterday. I couldn't believe that. And I kind of want to do it again. So that's my goal, to maybe finish this within the next 2 days and then give a final update. So it's 2 days later. I did not finish it when I wanted to, and I did not do as much reading yesterday as I wanted to, but I am 320 pages in, so I'm still not done. I was gonna come back and just like do a review and just finish the book, but I decided that I had a little bit more to say, and I think it's fitting that I do like a little mini review slash like update every 100 pages. So that's what I'm gonna do. They finally smash, for lack of a better word, in Newly Nova fashion. I will say smash. The marker. If you know what I mean, please try to answer for me. Why? 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 I understand that he was trying to prove a point to her, but a marker? I don't like that. I don't fuck with that. I think my camera was just slowly slipping that whole time. So we're gonna pretend like that didn't happen. We're also gonna pretend like the framing of this isn't horrible, and that you can't see my phone shaking. Anyway, so that was awful. And then I realized that I had never touched on the diary entries before. I thought, you know, that's kind of cute. And then I explained it out loud to someone who hasn't read the book. Oh yeah, like the main female character was like writing in her diary like 10 years ago, and she got really upset and she threw it out the window. And then the male character like found it and kept it for all those years and wore the like key around his neck and then gave it back to her, and now she's giving him like pages of it whenever he's like done her a solid, or honestly just kind of when she wants. But that's kind of how it came across, was like when he was being nice she would give him one in return. And yeah, I told that to my mom and she was like, that sounds really dumb. So I don't know how I feel about it. I think that some of them are cute, but I think I think it's like the most recent one that was basically like young Rosie in her diary saying that she wanted to forward. Kind of weird. I don't know. And then they did, and it wasn't anything super special. I honestly think that this book could be a closed door and it would be just as good. And hey, I am not a hater of smut. I was a Wattpad girly, turned Tumblr girly, turned AO3 girly. I've seen it all, but I don't know. Something about the smut in this just like wasn't really working for me. And I feel like the chemistry between the characters it's decent. Like they have good banter and whatever. But, and I touched on this so many times in the video already, every time I updated. But the pushing of the enemies to lovers is so difficult for me to swallow, because like we would be so much better off if we just hated each other. Like, why? What is stopping you? I mean, I think it was Rosie that said it, not Ford. You've got a new daughter and you're trying to start up your production company in a different place and like lay down the foundation for it. And you know, you've got all this stuff going on. You do not need something extra. But I also think that that is sort of a cop-out, because if he really wants to be with her, he will be able to factor that into his life and not find it stressful. And also, like, I'm sure that having her around would help with those things, as she literally works for him and Cora loves her. So I don't know. I think that a lot of their reasoning for why they can't be together is a little bit silly and definitely not worth 400 pages of content. I'm assuming that within this last little bit there's going to be some like final conflict. I feel so bad that I have to keep moving my camera. It's just because I'm using my phone and I've got it propped up on books. This is like the most makeshift thing in the entire world. So just pretend that my camera hasn't been something. Anyway, I bet you within the last 100 pages, there's gonna be the final conflict where they get really mad at each other and Ford has to go chase after Rosie and say, no, this is not what happened. This is what happened. And you know, like, I love you, and the I love you bomb will be dropped, which it already kind of was, which I thought was insane, but also not, because they've known each other for so long. Like, you would think that characters that have known each other since they were kids would literally be like on fire with the amount of like tension and banter. Like, it's good, but it could be elevated, I think. And I am no writer, but I can't pinpoint like the exact problem with the way that they interact with each other, other than the fact that they're like, I don't hate you, but I should because it would be easier. Why? Just be together. It doesn't make sense. So, also, what was it? Ford's mom being a sex therapist, I think, is really funny because it feels like her character was just pulled out of Sex Education, I think that's the show, and inserted in here. Like, I fully believe that Elsie Silver watched Sex Education and went, you know what? I'm gonna use that, and then put it in the book. Because it's kind of funny. After Rosie and Ford smash, his parents show up, and Ford's internal monologue is like, my dad would have like absolutely no like thought that we were just doing something like that, even if he saw everything all over the floor, so it should be fine. But my mom, she would know. And then she makes an offhanded comment to Rosie about peeing. That sounds really weird if you don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna allow it to be weird because it's kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what the last 100 pages will hold. 100 pages in a bit. I think this is like 450 pages. I'm interested to see what the rest of this book has to offer. So far though, this has got like a 3-star vibe. Usually romances end up being 3 stars for me. I honestly think that the Kiss Quotient was like the only romance series that was actually, I don't know if I rated one 5 stars, but I definitely rated one 4. I really love that series. But I don't know, this just doesn't have that like wow factor, the 5-star factor, if you will. I don't think that it's anything like a super special. Will I read the rest of the books that come out in this series as they come out, because the next one comes out in September? Yes, I will, and I will probably do another reading vlog. And I've decided that I'm going to call these the romance reading vlogs, and I'm going to update them whenever I decide to read a romance, which I think will be more often because of a book club I'm in. So if this ends up doing well, and even if it doesn't, I'm going to start the romance reading vlog thing, just for fun, to have like a little series on my channel. I am 320 pages in. I'm gonna power through the rest of this today, mark my words, and then I will do a final little wrap-up update. Hey guys, I'm back. It has been a week, I think, since I filmed more content for this video. I finished Wild Love very soon after the last clip, and then entirely forgot to film a wrap-up. And so I am here to give it to you a week later, and I'm gonna try and remember as best I can what happened. I'm currently in a very different location. I'm at my grandma's house, and I thought I'd film it now so I could edit the video while I'm here and I've got some vacation time. But yeah, so I finished Wild Love, and I rated it 3 stars. I think that the book was about 200 pages too long. I find that most romances that are over 200 pages are generally way too long. And I thought that so much of what happened between Rosie and Ford just like didn't need to happen, like all the smut and stuff. Some of the smut was fine. The marker though, that was questionable. That was like really questionable. And the paint, that was also like, there's so much stuff in this book that was like questionable, and it wasn't even like Butcher and Blackbird questionable, where it was like, why are we writing this? It was like, why are we even like coming up with this in our brain? You know, like I can understand why the stuff in Butcher and Blackbird is hot, but like a marker? I don't know about that. So yeah, I thought that the best part of the whole book was Ford's relationship with Cora and Rosie's relationship with Cora. I thought that that was like the sweetest thing ever. I could have read like a whole book series about that relationship and the way that they were sort of like a little family unit. I thought that that was really sweet. But like, and I kept talking about this issue throughout the whole video, and I'm still gonna talk about it now. The like trying to be enemies to lovers when it is so clearly not. Like Ford is so clearly and has always so clearly been in love with Rosie, there's no way he could hate her. There's no way he could even act like he hates her. They have this like fun sort of light playfulness to them that they keep trying to say is like hatred. It's not hatred. It's not even close to dislike. It's just two friends that have known each other for years poking fun at one another because they like to see the other one annoyed. And that is not like enemies at all. You know, I see so many books that are trying to sell the enemies to lovers sort of plotline, and it's just not even close. Like Leather and Lark was decently close to being an enemies to lovers in my opinion, but still there was too much of like a spark, and then there wasn't. It was weird. But anyway, I'm giving that review in my July wrap up. But yeah, I felt like the characters had okay chemistry. It wasn't like my favorite chemistry that I've ever seen in a book between two characters. Like I've definitely read romances where the romance is like literally crackling on the page. Like the Kiss Quotient series, all three of those books, the relationships were so good. The chemistry was so good. Like the smut wasn't overdone. They were the perfect length of a book. I love those. Those are like, if I'm thinking of romance and I'm looking for like a guideline for what a romance novel should be, those are the best. But anyway, Wild Love. I obviously do not have it here with me because why would I travel with a book that I finished? So I still have it at home. But yeah, I don't know. I was really enjoying it up until like 3/4 of the way through, and then I was kind of like, I'm done with this. It can be over now. I don't really need this anymore. A lot of people online say that Ford is their book boyfriend, and that's a little bit concerning and a little bit confusing for me because why? Like, he's okay. Ford bringing Rosie to that little like, I don't even know, what was it for? It was like a party for something for rich people. The way that Ford would talk about spending his money and the way that Ford screwed over the guy that like assaulted Rosie in the office, that is not even like normal rich person behavior. That is just like the biggest ick for me is how Ford is just like nasty, disgusting rich, and he doesn't really learn a lesson in my opinion. There wasn't like he had a moment where he's like, maybe I should be more conscious, and then he just like isn't. So I feel like that whole like world's hottest billionaire plot line and the fact that he's like super stupid rich was kind of silly. Like I can understand why it brought something to the story, you know, that his dad is like really famous and he's got his production company, whatever, but like the fact that Ford was just throwing so much money away throughout the whole book felt really, really stupid to me. Like I do not enjoy reading that because I'm like, why would you do that? There's so many better ways to be spending your money. That was really frustrating to me. And also just the smut. I thought the smut was too much. There was too much of it. Like it always happens with romances, especially as an example, Butcher and Blackbird happened in Butcher and Blackbird. I mean, it was okay in Butcher and Blackbird because it was an audiobook and I was okay with that. But like Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark, Wild Love, you get to the halfway point and then it's all smut. And like the plot gets so lost. And I felt like the same thing happened with Wild Love where like as soon as they start smashing, it's over. Like there is nothing else. And I can't deal with that because I really don't care about the smut. You know, I was a Wattpad girly and then a Tumblr girly, an AO3 girly. Like I can understand that. I can understand reading smut, but like when I'm reading a book, I'm not reading a book for smut. I will go on Tumblr if I need smut. So I really steer clear of stuff that has it or has it in like large quantities because I just don't care. And I also don't find that like mainstream authors do smut as well as like the people online that have really small platforms. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Mainstream authors just don't do smut the way that it should be done. So I found all that really annoying. And also like it felt like it was trying to be kinky for like no reason. Like it couldn't stand being vanilla. So it had to be like really weird and messy and like, we're not normal because we're like enemies to lovers, messy people. It's like, okay, cool. You can just like go and smash in bed or something. None of us care. None of us need to see it, which is something I'm grateful for in reading a couple YA romances is that no smut. It's closed door. And I actually think I prefer closed door romances now. So I've learned that about myself. That's pretty cool. In conclusion, because I don't want to make this video too long, but in conclusion, 3 stars. I honestly could probably be roped into reading the other books that come out just because I am curious. I kind of want to read the Chestnut Spring series because of the introduction to Willa. I thought she was really fun. I feel like I would eat up the book that she has in the Chestnut Spring series, but we'll see. And if I do romance reading vlogs, that would be something I'd be interested in showcasing because I just think that that would be fun. I mean, am I putting myself through a little bit of pain? Yeah, but does it end up being worth it? I think so. I mean, this has been really fun. Did I forget to do my wrap up? Yes, I did, but I'm doing it now and I'm going to edit the video and hopefully it'll be up soon. I am really behind on editing right now, so I don't know when this is going to come out, but I had plans to be releasing in the second week of July, and then I totally didn't edit videos. So I'm editing them now. I'm going to release a few very, very quickly and very close to one another because I want to get the content out. But yeah, I want to do some more romance reading vlogs because I think they're fun. So I don't really have any final thoughts. Honestly, I didn't have all that much to say because, like, at the end of the day, you get a book like that and you don't have a whole lot. It's just like the relationship between the two main characters, and then that's it. You get some smut, and then there's not a whole lot that happens. Like, the only interesting part of the book, in my opinion, was the way that Cora was involved in it. So apart from that, it wasn't my favorite. But yeah, I think I probably will read the other one. I think it's coming out next year in February, or it's coming out in September. I can't remember, but it's coming out soon-ish. So maybe I'll do another reading vlog for that one. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I know it's a little different than what I've posted before, but I am really excited to do more reading vlogs. I thought this was really fun. It was really casual. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than just like sitting in front of a camera with like the books that I want to show you, because that just felt a little bit monotonous, and this is not as much so because I can record over a couple of days as long as I remember. So yeah, if you want to see more of this, please let me know, because I want to know what you guys think. If you would prefer reading vlogs or if you prefer me sitting down and talking about books, let me know in the comments, and leave a like if you enjoyed this. And also let me know if you've read Wild Love and what you think, because I want to know. I want to know, because this could be some people's like favorite 5-star book ever. I mean, I don't know. I've heard some mixed reviews. I've heard a lot of like 3 to 2.5 star ratings, but if you love the book, please let me know. And if you want to join me again for more videos, please subscribe. I have been trying to post consistently, and I'm hoping I will get more consistent as the months go on. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in my next video.